I'd like to welcome everyone to the FATT Show, where it's football all the time. I'm your host, Kevin Menton. We talk NFL, college football, Pac-12 locally, and even high school football. Today we have a special guest with us, and this is Houston Lillard.
What's going on?
Yeah, welcome, Houston. We appreciate you being here.
Man, I'm thankful. I appreciate you having me, giving me this opportunity to speak with you and give you a little bit of this ism.
Yes, amen, amen. Hey, tell me, so I understand, just to kind of highlight who Houston is, he's an owner of Team Lillard, 7-on-7 football.
Yes.
And, you played quarterback for Simo,
Right.
Southeast Missouri State, the Red Hawks.
Yes, sir.
And quarterback, wow, quite a position to play.
Right.
Have you always played quarterback?
I started playing quarterback in 10th grade. I played a lot of sports growing up, and I was one of those kids that hit puberty, later on in high school. So I went from the little short, chubby kid to actually an athlete, and all my abilities kind of came in fruition a little bit more. So I've been playing quarterback since 10th grade.
Well, something about playing quarterback in that kind of position. You're the signal caller.
Right.
Everything runs through you, the plays, and making sure people are in the right position, right?
Every single thing. I pretty much had to learn everybody's responsibility.
Wow.
And still be able to know mine as well.
So you went to San Lorenzo High School. Now you're born and raised Oakland, California.
Right.
San Lorenzo. What was that experience like at San Lorenzo, and how did you guys do in high school?
It was actually pretty fun. I went to school with all my cousins, and we have a huge family. Like I told you, about 8 of us was at the same high school at the same time. We all used my uncle's address outside of Oakland.
There we go.
Because it was a better situation for us and,
Sure.
Better education and stuff like that. But it was fun. I played basketball, football, I ran track for 2 years, and got Athlete of the Year my senior year. We went to the championship game. We had 23 people on our football team my senior year, and we made it to the state championship game.
Wow.
In California. So that's something I hold high as a standard in my life.
And California is big. What kind of high schools did you play against in high school?
A lot of the dominant ones. We played against a lot of high major recruits, San Leandro High, where Dennis Dixon went.
Oh, okay.
Bishop O'Dowd. They have Ivan Rapp just was drafted in the NBA. So
wow.
We had a lot of talent in the Bay Area when I was coming out.
And as we know, California is somewhat the hotbed. I've been out there.
Right.
I've seen a lot of the different recruits and kids going in and getting into high school and then further and beyond and going choosing the colleges they go to. Now, being from Oakland, California, what was that experience like living there in Oakland, California? What kind of things as you were growing up, what was really your pillar there? Was it family and really helping you, guide you when you were smaller, and then up even to elementary, and then even to high school?
Well, the neighborhood majority of my family is from is called the Jungle, Brookfield Jungle. And it's because it's like a jungle. You have people trying to persuade you in so many different directions for so many different things outside of what's right. And it could be your friends, it could be other parents, it could be so many different people. So the biggest thing that kept us together was just us. We had a huge family. We played together, we fought together, we ate together.
Wow.
We just kind of really stuck together. It wasn't more than 2 of us separated at all times, never. So it just gave us the understanding that we could be each other's, safeguards and all of that. So that's kind of how we was raised.
It's so important when you talk about family and talking about being together as a family unit,
Right.
looking out for one another, especially in a place like Oakland,
Exactly.
So tell me, how was it that football got started in you? Sometimes we always talk about on the FATT Show, we talked about, different passions that people have, but in the sense of football goes, what was the passion for you that got you started in football, to really like it? Because I know that football was your second sport to basketball, right? But tell me a little bit about how, that played a part in regards to passion for football, but how they work together with basketball.
Well, for me, football never really got an opportunity because I was always playing basketball in the summer. But like I told you, my family is very instrumental in my life. And one of my older cousins, his name is Jonathan, he was just a monster on the football field.
Wow.
And he was, I just wanted to beat him. And everything he did, I wanted to beat him.
Competitive, right?
Exactly. So when I seen how good he was on the football field, it brought to me like, man, I'll be playing two-hand touch with him every day, and I do well. So I went out for football, and it didn't work out how I thought it would. I was kind of scared of contact. I was just like, I didn't know if I was sure I wanted to play at that moment, like the first year. So my uncle, and he had 5 daughters, he didn't have no sons, so all his nephews, he treated us like we were his sons, and he brought me home after the first week of practice, and me and John did hog drills in the front yard for an hour. And I cried, I had lumps all over me. I had bush marks all over me. And from that day on, I knew I was prepared to take whatever came in front of me because nobody would hit me harder than John hit me that day.
Wow.
And
I mean, talk about being put through a gauntlet
yeah,
of things,
like,
you know?
I was in tears for like 20 minutes straight.
Wow.
Over and over and over. And from that day, my mindset just changed. Like, I felt like I was unstoppable and I needed to show you. And as I got older and my maturity kicked in, I just became who I was.
And so could you say that was a turning point for you?
Oh, definitely.
When it came down to
because I would have quit football the next week. If that day didn't happen, I would have quit.
Wow. And it
quit.
tells you here at the FATT Show that sometimes something that instrumental can be
Right.
so big to a person to help them motivate them to really stay with what their passion is.
Right.
So that's important. Tell us a little bit how your family, though, was influential in you growing up. And what was it about them? Who was your that you looked up to as far as, you know, sometimes we pick a mom or a dad or sometimes a family member, a brother or a sister. Who was really somebody that was really influential to you?
Well, in my life, I have to say it was a little bit of everybody. I had, like I told you, we really stuck together. It was kind of abnormal now that I'm grown and seeing how people grow up, and it's like they have a household where their mom and dad and a brother and sister. Where in my house was like, I got out of school and we went to granny house. We all got out of school and we went to granny house. So we really grew up in a village form to where, like, my uncle, he took us to practice. He was the football coach. My auntie, she made us when we used words we didn't understand, she made us find definitions and write book reports. My mom, she was the one that kind of let us know it was okay to be yourself, you know, free feeling, free flowing, be able to talk about things. My dad, he just was a leader. He didn't follow people. He didn't do nothing he didn't want to do, and he never bragged. He never told people what he had. He never, you know, so all of those different pieces kind of molded us into like who we were and who we were going to be.
Kind of made it to where you as an individual, you use those experiences to kind of better you,
right,
and help you out to kind of navigate through things,
yeah,
right?
as much as you can, but you got to be willing to like listen. You got to be willing to pay attention. You can't just be. You can have all of these pieces around you, but if you're not willing to embrace it, then it's like you never put the puzzle together.
Right, right. Now, we always talk about how mentors play a part,
Right.
and really, you talked about family and how important that was and how there were different pieces to the family that was kind of like a village to you.
Right.
But was there anyone that stood out during, you know, when you talk about going from, say, grade school to high school? High school can be a very interesting time. Hormones are kicking in.
Right.
you're growing up.
Exactly.
You have a little bit more responsibilities. So, was there a mentor during that time that really stood out to you, as far as that took you underneath their wing to guide you and help you, maybe give you some insight that perhaps maybe those other experiences didn't give you?
It was my Uncle Oscar. I could say that wholeheartedly. He was my football coach, 9th grade,
Wow.
10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and my freshman year of college. And he was the defensive coordinator. He was the dad who came to the school after. He was the mailman. He would show up after school for practice. He knew all the kids at school. Huge personality. Would talk to you, crack jokes with you. So he was the guy that just kind of helped everybody go from that little boy to a man. I talked to him about women. I talked to him about practice. He treated me like a player, a nephew, and a son. So definitely my Uncle Oscar, hands down.
Yeah, and you talk about, we also talk about in regards to what it is like on and off the field, especially if you're, totally immersed into being an athlete. But there's also another aspect of how you are to live as a person,
Right.
Outside of being an athlete. So to be a student and to be a better person.
Right.
It sounds like your uncle played a really influential part.
I mean, like I told you earlier, I don't know if you remember, but he has 5 daughters. So he took a lot of pride in raising us and teaching us how to be men. And
that's not easy.
Exactly.
That's not
easy at all. He did it and still doing it. So, like, I easily hand him that torch.
Oh, great. Now, playing basketball, basketball,
Right.
Remember this basketball does play a part in hand-eye coordination.
Right.
It gives you some skills to translate into football. But was there any, when you were playing basketball as your main sport, and then that football was your second sport, was there any offers that you had coming out of high school, San Lorenzo, that took interest in you?
I went to a couple camps going into my senior year, and I actually did really well. I had started getting recruited by like San Diego State, Santa Clara, and I think it was I don't really lie. I don't want to lie. Santa Clara and San Diego State, I remember. I want to say
Those
Santa
are your main
Barbara.
ones, right?
They all three came from the same camp I went to. I went to a camp at San Diego State, and I ended up making All-Stars and all of that. And I didn't really understand that I was actually being recruited. I didn't know what was going on as far as like, oh, they want me to do this. Oh, they like me. They want to talk to me and stuff like that. I mean, we never experienced nothing like that.
Were you getting phone calls and getting letters?
I mean, my coaches was. I was getting
Okay, yeah.
letters, and they were telling me about it, but I played for some coaches who just put a team together and didn't really know how to help kids get to college. So I went to the camp. I had a good camp, and I did well, but when all the time came prepared to continue my recruiting, we kind of just dropped the ball. And I ended up going to community college. So
okay, yeah. I mean, the thing is that when you look at getting those letters and phone calls,
right.
You know, I see this as someone. We did an interview a while back with Arthur Williams, who was another interview. Check that out on our YouTube video page. But
check that out.
Check it out. But it was interesting because he talked about also from an aspect of he didn't know how to handle it. His family didn't know how to handle those offers, schools and calls and so on and so forth. It just was a new experience.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of got hit with the first time around bug, if you want to call it that, not having experience in what's going on.
How do I do this, you know, kind of thing, right? And really local schools within California, so in that Bay Area.
It was all last minute, just off of one weekend. I had a good weekend, and then things kind of went left from there.
Now, what was it about college, though? You know, you said you went to a couple community colleges, I believe. And what was it about that college experience that helped you grow as a person on and off the field?
My freshman year of college, maybe my sophomore year. When I went to community college, I went to my confidence was really high. I thought I was going to go Division I or whatever, and I ended up going to a junior college, one that I actually shunned off a lot for football because I thought I was playing basketball, and I ended up playing football, and the coaches just wouldn't play me. Because you know how I acted before, and it kind of carried over into the season. And then I went to play basketball after, and then the team was good. I couldn't play on the team, and I kind of got put in a position to where I had to choose: do I want to play football? Do I want to play basketball? Do I care? Do I want to go to school? And I transferred, to another junior college. I stopped playing basketball, and I decided to focus on football. And then once I locked in and started focusing on football, a lot of things started to change for me.
Yeah, so if there was something that you maybe had to do different, what would you do in that situation? Because it seemed like to me it was a situation where you were trying to find yourself in a way of what was it going to be, football or basketball. And sometimes when you talk about a person zeroed in and locked in into one sport, it's kind of more of an early opportunity for them coaches to recognize you and maybe find a spot for you, right?
For me, it was I didn't have a plan. Okay. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just doing it, going through the motions. And then I got serious. I realized what I had in front of me. I realized like the opportunities I was missing. And when I transferred, I just decided to dominate every aspect I needed to get better. I worked out all the time. I was always on the field throwing. I got one of the highest grade point averages I got in a long time.
Okay, so in the schoolroom you were
classroom
you were
I
taking
changed
care of.
as a person.
Yeah.
And I started getting recruited. And I transferred from my first junior college right over Christmas break. So in spring semester I was at another school. So spring semester, like I told you, I got 3.3, and I started getting recruited. Schools was coming to watch us work out, and then things was going well. My body changed. I was just another person. And then when the season came, I got cocky. And that was the first time in my life I was arrogant. Like, I didn't want to go to class. I used to skip. I turned in work when I wanted to. It was just a whole bunch of things about me off the field that changed.
So really, here on the FATT Show, we're real.
Yeah,
I mean, this is real situations when you're talking about a person that, you know, is trying to, you know, find themselves, figure out themselves as what they want to do. And there are road, you know, the bumps in the road, as it were, that make it very difficult for you to kind of say, okay, this is the route I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. But at some point, what was that turning point for you?
Turning point for me was actually, I tell a lot of the kids I work with now this story. I ended up picking up probably about 8 Division I scholarship offers after that fall season when I transferred to Lenny. And I had 5 visits set up: University of Ohio, Kent State, UNLV, Northern Arizona, and I think it was like Mississippi Valley.
Okay.
School down south my grandma wanted me to go to. And report cards came out. It's after the last game of the season. All my visits were set up for the Christmas break.
Wow. Okay.
And report cards came out, and I had a 1.75.
Whoa, Houston.
Yeah, cocky. I didn't go to class.
Wow.
1.75. So my coach called me in the office, and he just
You knew.
he just ripped me, and then he said, "Call your mom." And I was like, "All right." So I called my mom, put her on speakerphone, and he called her and he told her, he said, "I'm sitting in the office with Houston. We have his grades. He has a 1.75, and I'm about to call every school that he has a visit and offer them a scholarship and tell them that he doesn't deserve to be in that program."
Wow.
Because they can't have a quarterback who can't pass a class.
And being a quarterback, there's some responsibility there.
Yeah.
I mean, your
Accountability,
accountability,
all of that.
right? If
And
you
I
can't
didn't-
handle it in the classroom,
Right.
on the field, right?
It's got to
They
be
transcend.
It has to be too much.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that. I felt like since I was focused on the field and I was putting up on the field that everything else would work itself out. And I was, like I told you, I became arrogant. And he got off the phone with my mom and he called every single school, and I lost every single offer I had.
Wow.
I lost every single offer I had. So
what from there, what happened?
I had to make up 21 units in my spring semester. On signing day, I watched all my teammates sign, and I was a starting quarterback. I had an all region in the whole state of California, and I didn't sign. Everybody signed, so
you got to see other people's.
I got to
You
see
were seeing other people sign.
the whole team, everybody.
Wow.
We were really good. So at that moment, I decided to just lock in and just fix whatever I needed to fix. I got almost straight A's. I ended up getting a lot of offers, but it was all smaller schools like Portland State type schools, Southeast Missouri State, and Idaho was one of the schools, but they were kind of in limbo. Ended up going to Southeast Missouri State. And,
Be honest, Houston, was it a thing of where you felt that you wanted to go, like you had these smaller schools looking at you, but were your eye was set on maybe a bigger school?
I wanted to go to San Diego State.
Yeah,
That was kind of like, just because in high school I missed out on the opportunity that I didn't realize, and then when I learned more about like the academics and the type of school it was, I was just gung ho about San Diego.
Did you take a visit over there?
Only at the camp.
Only at the camp.
Yeah, never went back.
Like the campus though, right?
Oh yeah, loved it. Loved it.
Right.
Right by the beach.
Right, of course.
I didn't want nothing else. I didn't want nothing else.
Right, sunshine, the beach, the water, right? That's great. So we're going to take a look at, though, as far as we saw you develop as a person. You know, you had some moments in your life where they were turning point moments. You know, the 1.75, the schools, you know, that coach, that talk with the coach in the office, and then the call to your mom. You know, all these.
And then every school. So you have all this happen to you. And what happened at Simo in your career with football? What took place after that? I was injured a lot.
Yeah.
I was injured a lot. I had a lot of responsibility on my shoulders when I got there. I was actually, based on what I went through, they were kind of considered lucky to have me because of my grades. So when I got there, it was just yellow pages, cover of the yellow pages, billboard. It was just like,
wow,
Houston's here. You know what I mean? And I didn't really, I just knew competitiveness, you know? I got to prove them that they're right. And I just kind of forced everything a lot. I went a little, you know, just overdid everything and just stayed hurt, stayed worried and stressed. Just a lot of pressure, and I kind of handled it the wrong way.
Now, you mentioned something with regards to pressure. There's different kinds of pressure.
Right.
But when you're talking about pressure like what you experienced at Simo, being injured a lot, that can take a little, can wreak havoc on a person's mental frame when you're talking about dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
But then also in the classroom and trying to balance all of that. What seemed to be the most difficult part for you during Simo?
The most difficult part was definitely being injured. The classroom was never hard. It was more about being there, going and
attending.
Exactly, attending and not taking, because it's such leisure in college. Nobody's waking you up telling you to go to class.
Ain't that the truth?
You have to get up and go.
Right.
You have to get up and go, and you have to get up and go. And then as an athlete, like I'll be the first to say, like a lot of people don't think that we're held accountable to so much. Like we are. We have weights. We have film. We have other classes. We have kids meetings we have to go do, and then we have to go to class, and then we have practice, and then we have meetings again. Then we have training. So it's a lot on our plates.
By the end of the day, I'm tired. I just heard all what you told me.
If you're the quarterback, you got 6 interviews. So
wow,
it's just a lot, and it kind of puts you in the sense to where you feel like sometimes you may feel like you're above the normal standard of what's going on. And it's just the people around you who got to keep you level.
Right. That's huge. So now we're past Simo. I mean,
Right.
there was you had an injury that kind of halted your career in football. In college, right? But then here we go with the seed planted of wanting to be around football, wanting to have some capacity in football. Here's where Team Lillard, 7-on-7, was created. This organization that you are so proud of.
Right.
Tell me, what made you start that?
Well, I actually played 5 years arena football after college, and I had a lot of success from learning from everything I went through in college, from just not being ready right away, not approaching it the right way the first time.
Right.
And I had a lot of success. So I ended up breaking my leg in 2015. And I kind of was distraught, you know what I mean? I didn't know what to do. So when I moved, I came to Portland where my brother was, and I met a bunch of kids, and I just started training whoever wanted to train. I post on Instagram, and kids would hit me and want to train. And I just drove from Salem to Portland to Lake Oswego to wherever. I was there. And when the season came around, a lot of those kids got all state. And a lot of those kids, like we developed relationships. It turned into me talking to them about life, talking to them about they just wanted to be around me. So I was like, how can I create, back scratch. So I started trying to help them get to college. I started telling coaches about them.
Interesting.
I started telling people who I knew, who I played with, who coached me. Like, I know this kid, and grades is this, and that. And they kind of didn't take me serious. They kind of was like, okay, all right, Houston telling me about another kid. So a lot of the kids were like, man, why don't you start a 7-on-7 team? We'll play for you. We want to play for you. So I just started a team. And in the midst of me starting a team, I realized that by me having a platform and being able to be around these kids more and be able to get to know them better and hold them accountable on another level, now if I can reach out to some coaches and let them know, like, look, we've been doing this. This is who he is. This is who his parents is. This is how he responds to this. Oh, and this is what his grades are like, and he's really, really good. Now they like, oh, so you actually paying attention now. You're not just telling me because you saw a video.
Right.
So, and it just worked like that. And now it's just turned into just something crazy.
Wow. It's just by taking an interest really in individuals because it's what you experienced, right?
Right. I think just for me being able to personally be fresh from everything that they're going through and been through an easy part and a hard part, then have to figure out how to get it back to normal.
Yeah.
It's just, so many people don't have the information, and I'd be crazy to sit back with so many things I've gone through just within the process of going to college, not even life, and not be able to help some of these kids kind of jump a couple hurdles.
Now, currently on your, as part of an organization, when you're talking about you have this thing in your mind, you're wanting to tell coaches about this team, Lillard 7-on-7,
right.
And you're trying to kind of orchestrate things as regards to that organization. You have to kind of put together a good piece of coaching with that.
Oh, definitely.
And so really looking at the staff of coaches, who do you have currently on your staff as coaches? Because again, that plays such an influential part on developing.
Oh, it definitely was. I couldn't do it by myself. All them kids, they're crazy personalities, positions, and I only want to deal with the quarterbacks. But I had a bunch of guys helping me, a lot of guys who played arena football with me in Tri-Cities, Washington, for the Tri-Cities Fever. Jaron Mastrud went to Southridge High School. Played tight end at Kansas State. Went to the NFL, played 5-6 years with the Raiders, the Bears, and the Miami Dolphins. He's an offensive coordinator, a big piece of every part of it, helping me out from putting a plan together to calling the plays. Dwayne, I can't even think of his last name. Dwayne Brooks.
Dwayne Brooks.
He's from Texas. He played for the Portland Thunder, holds the AFL kick return touchdown record. And he's a guy I actually played against in arena football for a couple of years. He stayed here, so we developed a good relationship. Lionel Singleton was one of my teammates, roommates. Good friend. He's from Tallahassee, Florida. Rudell Krim. He's from Florida, went to Arkansas, played safety.
Well, so I see what's developing here is you have a little bit of different states and a little flavor.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of flavor, a lot of passion, a lot of emotions. I wanted to put together a staff of coaches who can have something different to offer. A lot of us, like, I'm not a big talker. I'm not a big rah-rah guy. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna watch you do it, I'm gonna correct your mistakes, and then I'm gonna challenge you and stuff like that. Then you have coaches who just demand detail. So I think it was important for us to put together pieces that made every certain type of person succeed. Because some guys may respond differently to Coach Jaren than they do to me, vice versa, every other coach. And Dennis Kennedy, he was also one of my teammates from Washington. He's from Florida. I had about 4 coaches from Florida, so we definitely have an edge in our coaching staff, a lot of competitiveness and a lot of pure.
I see that there's a name that stands out to me too. Played for the Portland Thunder, played for the Oregon Ducks. Is it
Darren Thomas, my boy DT.
Yeah, DT
I
out
forgot
of Texas.
about DT. Yeah, DT. He's definitely he helps me a lot. Me and him became good friends. I had a short stint with the Portland Thunder, but after he worked with us for about 2-3 weeks, and then he signed a contract to go play for the Arizona Rattlers.
Oh, okay.
So he just now coming back. He'll be helping us again early next year.
Yeah, and I'm sure he has a lot to offer too as well from some of the experiences that he was able to experience.
And he's really, really passionate. Like he doesn't play. He doesn't play.
And being a former quarterback as well. So
he helps me a lot because I don't like to talk. You know, I'm not a big talker, so he get up there and just get to yelling and talking, and then I'm the doer. I just like to get it done. So he's definitely a good piece with me as quarterback.
I kind of like that too. When you're talking about 2 quarterbacks together, they have that kind of, I think that's what brought you together, being able to play the same position, right?
Exactly. And when we met in camp, you know, you would think it's like he played my position, but we just meshed, and I liked him. I actually like him a lot. He's a really good person and a real student of the game. So
yeah, it's important to have that on your staff when you talk about coaches.
Right.